Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Hello and welcome at our first video on Fratello, where we discuss watches. I'm here together with Gerard, long-time member of Fratello and Speedmaster collector, as am I, and that's the reason why we are here together, where we discuss a couple of Speedmasters. The reason is, of course, that the Moonwatch celebrates its 50th anniversary this year. The Moonlanding on July 20, 1969 was exactly 50 years ago, and we thought it would be a nice idea to pick 11 Speedmaster watches and discuss each of them. And we selected 11, and Gerard will kick off with the first one.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll start off with a watch which is not very much related to the Moonwatch or the Moonlanding, but which is an Omega Speedmaster automatic. This was the watch which brought me really into the Speedmaster collection. It's a reduced model. It's a watch with a value 7750 movement. It has a sapphire crystal, and it was the watch I think it was in the beginning of the 90s, 93, 94, when a friend of mine bought this exact Speedmaster. And I was absolutely flabbergasted by it. I was into watches at that time already, but more like most of us at that time, collecting swatches and watches of lower price levels. This was really the first watch in a high-end version which I saw, and I was absolutely stunned about it.
Do you remember the price from then?
Yes, I know that that friend of mine who bought it, he bought it pre-owned, although the watch was not very old. I think it was only 2 or 3 years old. It was not very long on the market at the time, but he bought it at that time for 750 guilders, which would have been like 350 euros at this moment. Still, that doesn't seem a lot of money, but at that time, for me, it was a lot of money to spend on a watch, and it really brought me into the Speedmasters, and I started investigating them as a result of that friend of mine buying this specific model.
It's interesting that the crown is also not round, but it has.
It is,
some
yeah.
edges.
Yeah, it is. I think it's octagonal. It has eight sides. It looks a bit like a walnut, but that's what it that's what it named as well from time to time, I think. And it's nice that it's something special about this watch. And of course the panda dial is beautiful as well. And it's although it's not similar to the Omega Speedmaster Professional. It certainly resembles it, and it looks immediately like a Speedmaster.
And based on the layout that I see, the dial layout, it's a Valjoux powered movement?
Yes, it's a Valjoux. It's a Valjoux 7750. Other reduced models use different movements. There's reduced models which have ETA movements with a Dubois des Pras module on top. Yeah. Which is quite easily to determine in the plane of the pushes and the crown. If everything is in the same plane, it'll be a Valjoux movement, and otherwise it's a modular movement and then you're able to see that the pushes are on a different level than the crown.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it's a nice watch.
I will show one too. Perhaps a bit more Apollo XI related. It's this gold model. It is the gold model from 1980, so it's not a 1969 model where they did the first gold watch, 1014 pieces, where the astronauts and the members of the White House and I think some other officials, they received the yellow gold watch from Omega. And 2 of them are in Omega Museum, at least, from Nixon and from Spiro Agnew, the vice president. They had to refuse the watch as a gift because the value was too high. So it was not that they didn't like them, but just that they couldn't accept the value. I think it's very interesting to see that because I think NASA astronauts are also government, that they could accept it, but perhaps they made some exception there. This one is from 1980. The first time I saw it is on the wrist of General Thomas Stafford, and after he resigned from NASA, he became, I think, on the board of directors or something of Omega in the US. And yeah, so this watch I saw for the first time on his wrist, and I found it a very interesting model. And I think in the same year I bumped into one, and I bought it. I really like it. It's similar to the one from '69, but it has a bit more modern dial with longer indexes with onyx. This dial has a gold color. It's not massive gold like the '69 one. There's a black inlay on the bezel, and it was the first Omega Speedmaster with a sapphire caseback where you can see the movement. So this movement is basically a 861, but it's an 861L, and the L stands for luxury because it has a nicer optical finish. I think the 861s from that era are still copper colored, and this one has a rhodium finish.
But the 861L was something different than the 863 at that time.
Yes.
Because that was a luxury, or well, more...
Yeah, later on they came with the 863 movement, which was especially for the sapphire caseback models, and at first I think that was copper colored as well, and later on the 1863 was rhodonized.
Rhodonized,
Yeah.
And what was the original number they produced this watch in at that time?
It's a numbered watch, so it's not limited, but they made 300 of these in yellow gold, and about 150 went to the German market in 1980, and there are 20 in white gold, and only few survived, I'm afraid, because the gold price was at that time quite high, I think. So I'm not sure if they all survived the 80s. This watch, only though there are 300, it took Omega quite a while in that decade to sell them, because they were in the catalog until 1988. But at the time they were quite expensive. They had the same retail price in Germany as a BMW 3 Series.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it was not a cheap watch. Compared to the original '69 one, it's a bit lighter. That's mainly because the original one has a gold caseback, so that makes it more heavy. And so it's a heavy watch, but I think it's not super heavy. If you have a normal stainless steel Speedmaster with a sapphire crystal, I think it's about the same.
And this one has a stainless steel clasp as well.
No, it's gold.
Oh, it's gold.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it looks because of the light, but it's a gold clasp as well. So it's 18 karat gold.
Okay.
And yeah, so this is the Apollo XI commemorative edition, and it also commemorated or celebrated the requalification for the space shuttle program. With this watch was a black certificate or brochure, and it was a certificate and brochure in one basically, which had the number of the watch, and it also described that the Speedmaster got requalified for the space shuttle mission, and that's why they introduced this gold one. But the caseback says Apollo 11.
Okay. And again, what year was this exact watch produced? Do you know? Yeah,
I have an extract from the archives, and mine is from November 1980. So one of the first, and it also has a loan number. So it's a number around 60 somewhere.
Not 13.
Not 13. No. That's the number I collect for those who don't know. Our colleague Bert. He has one as well. I think he has there are like 17 watches in between.
Okay.
And his one was shipped a week later to Germany. And we could see that in the archives in Biel at Omega.
Beautiful, interesting.
Yeah, it's super nice. It was my first solid gold Speedmaster.
Yeah.
So, what did you bring?
Okay. After the watch I just discussed, the automatic, which I said it wasn't mine, it was a watch of a friend of mine. I dove into the story of a Speedmaster, and I started collecting all kind of information about the Speedmasters. And then not very long after he bought this watch, I bought my first Speedmaster Professional, which was a Speedmaster Professional. Quite similar to this one. It was, although quite a bit older, it was from the 90s, but it was a Speedmaster Professional with a glass caseback. At that time, it had a 863 movement, which was rose gold plated, and not like this one. This is a more modern watch, which is rodinized, and the more modern one has a sapphire crystal, while that one at the time, which I bought, had acrylic crystal. And there's a little story about that watch. I was extremely happy to be able to buy that watch. I had to save up for it, and for me it was quite a lot of money. I still remember the price I paid for that one as well. It was 2,400 guilders.
Wow.
So that'll be like 1,100 euros at this moment. At that time
Sign
it was
me up.
yes. At that time it was a lot of money, but I was so happy with the watch, and I was very, very proud of it. But then a bit of disaster struck. I drove my motorbike, and I fell down. It wasn't a big accident, but I slid away because of a wet street and someone in front of me who braked stronger than I expected, and I fell down with my bike. And not much happened, but what happened was that my Omega was heavily damaged. The bezel was damaged, of course the plastic crystal was damaged, the casing was damaged.
Did it still run?
It still ran.
Okay.
It wasn't damaged. It was more cosmetically damaged than it was technically damaged.
And it happened in the Netherlands?
It happened in the Netherlands, yeah. It happened in the Netherlands, here in my hometown in The Hague. And so what I did, I took the watch with me to Switzerland, and I brought it to the Omega factory. That was the first time I visited Omega in Biel, and I think we speak 1996 probably at the moment, and it was a wonderful visit. I was received by a lovely lady at the main entrance, and she said, "Okay, let me take care of the watch. I'll bring it to someone who is able to determine what the problem is with the watch and what has to be done to fix it." And as well, we were because I was with a friend of mine. We were offered to have a visit to the museum at that time already, while waiting for the verdict about the watch. So we went to the museum, and we had a lovely time. Saw the things which were available at that time. It was not much changed of the old museum, which now just has been closed down. The new museum is open, but it was pretty much the same as the old museum was, like let's say a month ago. And after some 2 hours, we walked back to the main entrance, and I was surprised that my watch was totally fixed after such a short period. They had not only looked into it, but they had fixed this as well. They changed the bezel, they changed the...
They changed the case, or did they repolish it?
The casing was slightly polished.
Yeah.
The bezel was totally exchanged, and there was a new crystal placed, of course. So it was a wonderful experience. It was my first experience with Omega, and it was absolutely something which I never will forget.
But you didn't keep it in the end?
In the end, I didn't keep it. Of course, the watch was like new again, and I was happy with it, but
it
didn't feel the same, and it always remembered me. It was like I drove motorcycles for a very, very long time already, and it was only the second time I fell down, and the watch always remembered me that I fell down with it with a motorcycle. So in the end, I sold it off, and
okay.
Well, this was the one.
You bought a new one back to
exactly
commemorate that watch, basically.
Yeah, to commemorate that watch, to have more or less the same watch in my collection, and
nice.
Yeah, this is.
And the case back, can I see? Does
yeah.
it say? It says the first and only watch worn on the moon. We know that's not entirely correct, but I think they stopped doing this at some point.
At some point, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This,
Not super long ago.
no.
I think not 10 years ago. It
No,
was,
although this was one of the first models with the sapphire crystal, because before there was a series as well which had an acrylic crystal
and a sapphire caseback.
and a sapphire caseback. This one is already with
Luminova.
with a sapphire sandwich, as they are called. But
very nice.
Yeah.
And what was the motorcycle?
It was a Yamaha XS 1100, so it was an old, big motorcycle. Yeah.
And not damaged, or?
It was it wasn't. No, not that. There was not much to be damaged on
Okay.
that bike already.
Okay,
so
very
it was,
good,
It
very
wasn't
good.
that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take my next watch, and as you can see, we have a number of watches here on the table. But this watch is just a normal Speedmaster. It is not the current one with the long reference number. It's the 3570.50. So it is the normal Moonwatch with Hasselite crystal and a solid caseback that was sold until 2014, when they upgraded basically the bracelet. They made screwed links, and they started to deliver them with a big black box.
Yeah.
I still don't have one, and I think I need to.
Neither do I.
Yeah, so we need to buy one.
Yeah, we need one.
Yeah, this one still came in the red leather box, and it's just a Speedmaster Moonwatch. And at that time, when I bought it in 2013, I didn't have a normal Moonwatch, not a modern one. I had vintage ones, I had some limited editions, but not a normal one, a new one. And I think it's always good to have one fresh from the stickers that you can wear. And to be honest, I think this is the watch to go with. I think it's very nice to collect limited editions or go vintage, but they also have their quirks, perhaps. Vintage is you have to do your homework, you have to know your stuff, and if you just want to have one nice watch, I think the Moonwatch, the basic one, is a super purchase, don't you think? Also for the price, I think the retail price is still 4,600 euros.
Yeah.
And I think there's not much out there that can beat this watch.
No, it's absolutely one to start off with. I think. Often it's not the only watch, the only Speedmaster you buy, but it should be the first probably.
Perhaps the starting point.
The starting point. And they produced this watch for Omega produced this watch for quite a long time.
I think in '96 they started with this reference, because before that it was 3590 with the tritium.
Yeah.
And in '96 they got the bracelet update with links that look like this. It had a bit different clasp.
Yeah.
And with the Super Luminova.
Without the pushes on the side or because this clasp is.
Actually, the first ones with the bracelet that looked like this, they had no pushers on the.
For a short period of time, I think.
Yeah.
Only,
Correct.
Yeah.
So I brought this. I think it's a very cool watch, and I feel that this is the one that you can easily buy if you want to have a Speedmaster and don't want to take any risks with vintage, or don't want to be on waiting lists, or have to wait for a long time for your watch, or don't want to go into the limited edition craze. Then I think this is the one. To buy.
I agree, absolutely.
So it's not special. On the other hand, it's quite special.
Well, it's very special.
Exactly. So that's what was my second pick for this video.
Wonderful.
So let's have a look at the fifth watch of the 11 that we selected. What's your third watch?
Yeah, my third watch is an Omega Speedmaster Professional, and it was the first watch which got the inscription on the caseback that it was flight qualified for manned space missions, and that the Omega Speedmaster was the first watch which was worn on the moon.
This one has the straight script.
Yes, this one has the straight script. So later on there was, as we know, the circular script with the seahorse logo in the center, kind of a medallion. This was, it looked a bit like engraved by hand. It was not very. Well, I won't say it was not very professional, but it
was laser engraved yet.
No, it doesn't look that it was mass produced like this.
Yeah.
The first watch which had this engravings was a gold one, by the way, in 1996.
69.
69,
Yeah.
of course, 1969. Just after the moon landing, so it was first engraved in a golden version of the Speedmaster, and later on in 71, I think it was from 71 onwards, in the stainless steel one. And this was a watch which came into my collection as one of the first watches, and it started to look further to other watches in my collection, older and younger, and it was certainly something which ignited my collecting of Speedmasters. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there are several versions of the Straight Script.
Yeah.
So this is the one with the first watch worn on the moon. I think they also did one where it says Apollo XI, 1969. I think there are a few less of those.
Additionally, yeah.
Yeah, and then afterwards, of course, the engraving as we know it
The regular.
today, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. Very nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Then,
Okay. What's your third one?
my third one, and the sixth one in total, is a limited edition. It's from 1995, which was the 25th anniversary of Apollo 13. You know, it's the mission that almost failed, where the Speedmaster had an important role, that they had to time the use of the rocket on their way home, back to Earth, to have a safe entry into the atmosphere. Because if they would burn the rocket for too long, they would hit a wrong angle, and that could have been fatal.
Yeah.
So in '95 there was the movie with Tom Hanks, of course. Omega used the opportunity to come up with this watch. For me, this watch was a bit collateral damage, because I bought it in 2013, where I bought a Snoopy from 2003, so also basically an Apollo 13 watch. And I made a trade with him for another watch, so one watch of mine for two of his. And he had the Snoopy, but he also had this, and I never gave it a real thought. But when I picked it up, it was in New York. When I picked it up, I immediately liked it even better than the first Snoopy model, because of the colors of the patch, basically, the orange and the yellow. It has the tritium hour marker, so it looks a bit yellowish. The caseback is the regular Moonwatch caseback, and on the side of the caseback it says it's Apollo 13 limited series, with a limited edition number, 999 pieces. And a few years later, Omega did again 50 in total for the big white
For the mission cases.
I think there were 40 for sale, and there were two sets of 5 with which were for demonstration purposes, I think.
EA approved that.
Yeah.
And
I think you can see the difference between these cases by the holes on top of the suitcases. So you can look into the. And there they had all the mission watches. I think like 22 watches.
And a movement.
And a spare movement, because there was also the introduction of the caliber 1861, and they had a watch that I will show later inside as well. This watch can also be found with a bit more modern bracelet, like the one I showed on the normal Moonwatch, because it was in a transitional period between this bracelet and the later bracelet.
Okay.
So this is the 1479 bracelet by many, praised by many basically, because it's very comfortable and it looks nice. But it is a bit of a hair puller, to be honest.
Yeah, it's certainly one of my favorite bracelets. And it's original in this watch. It came with a black box. It says Apollo 13 with a special certificate, and I like the color scheme basically on the watch. It's super nice. Funny story, or perhaps a bit geeky. I scratched the watch on purpose on one of the command modules that was in Houston on display, and there was no security, so I did it really quick. Scratched the case band, and now you probably can't see it on camera, but it has a scratched case back, but at least it's scratched on something that was on the moon or near the moon. So super nice. Beautiful.
Yeah, I love it.
Patch.
So on to the.
It was in the same period as a Snoopy, no?
No, the first Snoopy was in 2003.
Yeah.
Which is a bit awkward, because that's 33 years after the Apollo 13 mission. But this was really a 25th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
And only 999 pieces plus the suitcases. and the first Snoopy were 5,448 pieces, something like that.
Yeah.
But very difficult to find.
Yeah.
And super cool watch.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So on to number 7.
Watch number 7. Watch number 7 is a watch which I took with me, and which is very much NASA and Apollo related. It's the Alaska. This watch was made in as a commemorative watch for the Alaska project.
Yeah.
Omega used the code name Alaska for all of their watches, which they developed for space use, which were meant for use in space.
Yeah, I think they actually did so up till, I think this one, the digital one, which was called Alaska 4. I think so till the late 70s basically. I think with the XIII it was already dropped.
The XIII was the first one which had the code name was
XIII.
XIII, and therefore the models before the X33 were Alaska.
And this is 2008.
2008, yeah, exactly. It came in a huge box with the large red piece in it as well, which you can even wear. The strap
protector.
The protector. Yeah. The strap is long enough to wear it with the large piece as well. It's not very comfortable, but it looks very nice, of course.
Does it come only with this strap, or also? With
it comes with 2 straps. The 2 different length of straps,
but the same look.
The same kind of straps. Same.
And these didn't sell at first.
No.
2008.
No. They are very difficult to sell. I can imagine that if you're not into collecting, it's a watch which is not that easy to wear.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a watch which you probably should choose as your one watch to go for as wearing a timepiece. It's it's quite readable, but the whole thing with the strap is a bit geeky. There's all kind of information around. It's not a watch which you. It wouldn't be your only watch. I think. It's certainly something for people who like to collect the watches, and I'm very happy to have it in my collection. Yeah. Bought it from a good friend. And I'm still happy with it and love to have it in my collection.
Very nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, coincidentally, my next pick, so my 4th watch, also has a white dial. We didn't do this on purpose. It's the Snoopy, and this is the Snoopy from 2015. So it was the 45th anniversary of the Apollo XIII mission. Like I explained before, the Speedmaster had an important role with the Apollo 13 mission. They had to time for 14 seconds the use of the rocket. Yeah. And so accuracy and the use of the watch was super important for NASA. And NASA, they give these Snoopy Awards, Silver Snoopy Awards, to extraordinary achievements. And Omega received such an award in 1970 in October, if I'm not mistaken. It's on the certificate, so I can look it up, but I think it's October, for their role for the safe return of Apollo 13. This watch, it has a white dial. The Snoopy, the famous beagle, is on the 9 o'clock subdial. There's a little quote on the dial: "Failure is not an option," and that was used by Gene Kranz, I think, in a movie or in the book. I'm not sure. There was this quote came from somewhere. I think it was in the book, perhaps. And it also says, what could you do in 14 seconds? At first, when I saw this on a press release, you of course see the blow-up pictures. Then I thought, oh, that's a bit too gimmicky. But if you have it on the wrist, it's barely noticeable. It's just perhaps also because I have glasses, but it's then more of like a black line basically. It's very small. Ceramic, bezel, sapphire crystal, and it has the silver Snoopy lapel pin that Omega received. This is like a copy or replica basically, on a very nice background of blue, black, with silver powder or something. Gives it a bit of a sky appearance.
Yeah.
There are 1970 pieces of this one, and this one is also scratched on purpose. During one of our events, we had astronaut Charlie Duke. He was on Apollo 16, but he also had his role at with the Apollo 13 mission, and I thought it would be a nice idea to have his name engraved on the case band. So with a scratch pen, someone brought a scratch pen, and he wrote his name on the case band of the watch. This is Charlie Duke, and he said, "Are you sure?" And well, I said, "Go ahead." And he did, and I just liked the fact that an astronaut that was on the moon, involved in Apollo 13, touched this watch basically,
signed
actually. Yeah. Comes on his black strap. I now disconnected it from the clasp. Is this soft strap? I think some people also ordered it separately to use on the Speedy Tuesday because they love this strap so much.
Yeah.
It is indeed very comfortable. Sometimes I wear it also on a steel bracelet, but I think this is the nicest way to go.
Yeah, with the contrast of the white stitching and the black strap, it's very nice for this one, but as well for the Speedy Tuesday, which has this black and white contrast as well in the dial, of course.
Yeah. Eyes on the stars.
Eyes on the stars.
Eyes on the stars.
Yeah.
So this was our number 8. On to number 9.
Yes, on to number 9.
Also another black dial.
Also another black dial. You had a sneak preview. Also another black dial. I'll just go back to the white dialed Alaska. That was a watch, as I said. Me as well. I'm wearing it for special occasions. I wore it to the first Speedy Tuesday event we had in Noordwijk.
Oh yeah, 2013.
2013 exactly. So I love to wear this kind or this specific watch to these kind of events. I wore it as well to our events in Singapore and in Hong Kong. White dial, it's quite obvious a different watch than most of the other Speedmasters. And just to go back a little to your Snoopy, at first it was the same with me, that when I saw it in the press releases, I didn't like all the things too much in the dial, with all the printing, with all the writing and things. So I didn't order it in the beginning, and later on I regretted that very much. And a good friend of mine tried to get me one, and in the end it didn't work out, so I didn't get it. I don't have it in my collection. Regretted quite a bit. But that same friend organized another special watch for me, which he did succeed to get me from Japan. And,
the land of the rising sun.
The land of the rising sun, and another Speedmaster with a light dial. I don't have much light dial Speedmasters in my collection, and I really like this watch. It was a pity that it's only available in Japan, but luckily I found someone able to get me one from Japan, and I just recently could put it into my collection. I'm very, very happy with this. I think
the dial looks almost with like platinum grain, like a Yachtmaster.
Yeah, it's certainly not white. It's it's light grey, platinum-like, just as you say exactly.
There's a little grain inside.
Yeah, there
very
is.
Nice.
It's
especially sunlight.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It's not totally flat. It has a grain. I love to wear it on a special red leather bracelet strap, I should say, with an Omega buckle. It suits very well to the red of the bezel, and it makes it an outstanding watch. And, I love it absolutely.
We covered it quite a bit on Fratello. Michael Stockton has it as well, and he wrote quite an article on it, and he called it the Rising Sun, which is appropriate, I think. Yeah. With the use of red, it's part of a collection of 5 watches, and I have to say, a lot of these 5 watches, I think 3 or 4 of them are inspired by Speedmaster that had been done previously. Like there's one that looks a bit like the Mitsukoshi, or this one, the Apollo XI one. There's one with a blue dial with light subdials like the Gemini. Yeah. for me, this was the one that was, and it was a green one, but that was gold steel.
Yeah.
So these two, the green one and this red one, the Rising Sun, those were the ones that were a bit different than stuff that did before in the Moonwatch collection.
And certainly I do own the other models which you just showed in my collection. So for me, this was really a good addition to my collection.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I'm absolutely very happy with it.
So these were available only in Japan, 5 different pieces, 20 pieces each because of the Olympic Games next year, 2020 in Tokyo. Yeah. And there was a set of all 5 together. Mm-hmm. They came on a bracelet and with an additional leather strap. And those were 55 pieces, 5 watches each.
Okay. So I think that's the leather strap.
In the end, quite a number of watches, but I think it's only available in Japan, and I think in Japan there are a lot of Speedmaster collectors. So I don't think that we will see that many of them here ending up in Europe, basically. No. But we'll see. We will have a Speedy Tuesday event, as you perhaps know, on October 8th in Tokyo, and so let's see if we can find a few over there.
People wearing them probably.
That would be nice. Yeah. Very cool.
Okay, thank you.
So number 10.
Yeah, your last choice.
My last choice, and we end with something special. It's the Speedmaster 57. A few years ago, when Omega celebrated their 60th anniversary of the Speedmaster, they did a poster, and this watch was on there as well, and they said it's the relaunch. But when this was introduced in 1997 for the 50th anniversary of the Speedmaster watch, they called it Replica. So it was Speedmaster 57 Replica. And a bit of a poorly chosen name because it might suggest that it's not an original watch. It is an original watch. It's not from 57 but from 97. But they tried to use some elements from the very first Speedmaster, like the broad arrow hands, steel bezel. It says only Omega Speedmaster, so not professional. It has the applied logo. Not a step dial, not a straight lock case. I think at that time in 97, the re-edition game was not as strong as it is today. No. Because later on in 2017, when they did the 60th anniversary, I think that was a proper re-edition of the original Speedmaster with a straight lock case.
Smaller diameter as well.
Smaller diameter. And I think that was a really a good one. But this was basically the first, I think a re-edition that they did.
Replica.
Yeah, replica perhaps.
What they did quite well, I think, what Omega did quite well is they didn't do any engraving on the case back.
Yes, it's an empty case back, so it doesn't have the NASA inscription.
Just the logo, the Seahorse logo.
Like the first one actually.
Yeah, in fact,
Perhaps the very first ones didn't have one as well. It said Speedmaster, but later on they changed it. Yeah. This one was the first watch to have the 1861 caliber, and this one was also in the mission box. Yeah. Together with the Apollo XIII I showed before. Yeah. So there were 22 mission pieces, and this was the 23rd piece, and there was a spare movement inside. Yeah. This one for me has special meaning. This was given to me in 2013 when my daughter was born. I had my first Father's Day, and this is what my daughter gave me officially. So, but I understood that my wife and you were involved in the process. So I'm super happy with it. It came in a black box. I think the later ones, because it was in production for quite some years, perhaps till 2003 or something. So they come also with 2 different bracelets, one without the push buttons on the clasp and the ones with the push buttons on the clasp. The first ones like this had a black box, leather box, and later ones came with a red leather box. And they all were Luminova dialed, or? Luminova dial on the hands and the dial. Yeah,
in 97 already.
Yeah, that started in 96 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Okay.
So very nice watch. I think originally it came on a stainless steel bracelet or a very nice like brown or tan strap. They had
leather strap. Yeah.
It was very good. So this is a special watch for me, and I think it's a very nice variation on a normal Moonwatch. It looks very different than the white baton hands and the black bezel. This one has it's a bit more alive, I have to say. Yeah. So this is my 10th, my 5th watch, 10 in total. So it leaves us with 1. and I'm wearing one, but I also have one for demonstration purposes. It's this year's Apollo XI 50th anniversary edition in moonshine gold. 1014 pieces are made because of the very first one in '69. So the first watch with the inscription, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
They did a re-edition this year. It has a sapphire crystal, a ceramic bezel, beautiful burgundy red color. I think different from the Rising Sun.
Yeah.
I never actually. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
This is a bit darker.
Yeah.
And it's the first Speedmaster with the new movement. It's a 3861 movement.
3861, yeah.
Yeah, it's a 38. Officially, it's the, or perhaps it's a code name. So I don't know if I can say this, but I will. It's the 3861M from Moonshine, because it has the moonshine gold finish or color, and the movement is also used in the steel version. The gold steel version, I have to say, because it has some gold elements, the other one,
Yeah.
which has the 3861 movement as well. So this movement is master chronometer, so certified by Metas, so it's resistant up to 15,000 Gauss.
Mm-hmm.
There's an accuracy of between 0 and 5 seconds a day on average, but I think that's all. It's nice, it's a bit irrelevant, to be honest. It's about this watch in this gold color. It's
True.
210 grams it weighs. And I had it on the kitchen scale.
Oh, yeah.
The bracelet is very similar to the original, so it's quite flat. It's very thin, so it goes from 20 to 14 millimeters, which sounds awfully thin. But if you don't know if you have a free wrist, but if you wear it, it's actually quite nice on the wrist. And the dial is super nicely done. There are small differences between this one and the original one on the positioning of Omega Speedmaster Professional.
Yeah.
But I think it comes super close, and it has the onyx markers.
Yeah.
It's beautifully done.
Yeah. No, this is
What do you think?
Beautiful. I could get used to it. I'm sure.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I can,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know I can.
Yeah, I know you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they did
Wonderful.
a beautiful commemorative edition or limited edition for this year, and I think they could not have done a better job with this watch.
I love the steel and gold one as well, but it's a bit more. Well, there's a bit more to it. There's the astronauts drawing in it.
Buzz Aldrin stepping down from the ladder is on there,
and so there's a bit more.
So I think that is really like a commemorative edition for the moon landing. This is really, I think, a tribute to that first gold watch that was presented to the astronauts.
Yeah.
So perhaps this one has a deeper link with the moon watch or the Apollo XI landing for me personally.
Yeah.
And I love it. And the case back is super nice. You see the movement as I just showed it, and you probably already know by now. But there's a piece of meteorite. Placed it there, a little circle in the black ring. Yeah. It's a lunar meteorite. So it was meteorite that was on the moon, and it was launched off the moon when another meteorite had impact on the moon. So it landed on Earth, and Omega got their hands on a meteorite stone, and so they used it for this moon on the case back. And on the other side, you see the Earth, part of the Earth that also includes the launch pad of the Apollo XI, and I think the ratio between the moon and the Earth is also correct. So I think that's a very nice feature.
Yeah.
So I think this is one of the nicest I think re-editions they.
What did you say about the bezel? The material was
ceramic. So you use ceramic.
Okay.
With gold. So it's their own Serra gold.
That's not regular. The black dial, the black bezels are not ceramic, or we don't know that.
That could be the case of the steel one.
Yeah.
But those also have gold. So it's ceramic with moonshine gold as well. Yeah. So that's for this special video for this very special week and this very special day for the Apollo moon landing and commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Moonwatch. We hope you enjoyed it. We did, I think.
Absolutely.
We have many more watches laying here on the table, so we can do some more videos. If you like this video, let us know. Shoot us a note. You can contact us through the website, or you can leave a comment, and we'd be more than happy to respond and to continue these series.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.